Hi everyone, may this day bring new opportunities and success for you. I'm Shahnaz, your English teacher. Welcome once again to 10th Standard English online class. Children, today I would like to deal with the lesson Long Walk to Freedom written by Nelson Mandela. Everyone knows that. Long Walk to Freedom is the autobiography written by Nelson Mandela. As the title says, there was a long walk to the freedom. What does it mean? There was a long struggle to gain the freedom. Nelson Mandela, the first black president of South Africa, he struggled a lot to gain the freedom without having a discrimination of race, color, age, and sex. Clear? Okay, my dear children, before entering to the lesson, you should know the word apartheid. What is meant by apartheid? Apartheid, it's a political system that divides the people according to their color, race, and other social groups. That means the white people enjoyed all kinds of freedom, all kinds of rights in South Africa past years. These black people or from the people from other racial groups, they did not get any kind of freedom or any kind of right to enjoy their life like what the white people had enjoyed in their life. That was the system. This system occurred in South Africa in the past years. There were around 3 centuries, around 300 years, the white people, they dominated there everywhere. These people, these black people were under the feet of these white people. And through this lesson, we can see the struggles faced by Nelson Mandela. And this lesson, this present extract explains the day of inauguration of oath-taking ceremony of the first black president of South Africa and his colleagues. Shall we move to the lesson? He explains how the inaugural section was there. Okay, let's move to the lesson, children. Please take page number 17. Dear children, 10th May 1994, that is a very important day in the lives of South African people. Why? That was the day their first president, their first black president took the oath as the president of South Africa. Okay, that's why the 10th May 1994 is very important in the lives of South African people. Okay, let me move to the lesson. Page number 17. 10th May dawned, bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and the world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of the international leaders on the South African soil. The first paragraph itself saying about the inaugural session. The day began. The dawn means 10th May, dawn means 10th May began, that day began bright and clear. That was really a happy and fine day, and also a very good weather also was there at that time. That was a fine day for them. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. And here Nelson Mandela he tells about his experience. For a few days, he was surrounded by some people, some dignitaries, some well-known people and other international political leaders. He was surrounded by these well-known political leaders and dignitaries. They came to meet him to show their respect. Clear, before the inaugural session. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on the South African soil. And that inauguration, it was such a larger possession. It was such a largest possession occurred in the South African soil. That means in the South African land. That would be the largest gathering ever, international leaders on the South African soil. Until that day, they couldn't conduct such a function in that South African soil, having number of dignitaries and international politicians. Okay, international leaders. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater formed by Union buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic and non-racial government. You see, children, the ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater. What is meant by amphitheater? That's given here. A building without roof with many rows of seats raising in steps. Clear? And the ceremonies took place in lovely sandstone amphitheater. It was made by that amphitheater. It is made by sandstone, a special kind of stone. We also have some public buildings in India with this sandstone. We have our Juma Masjid. We have our parliamentary building and Red Fort. Okay, we also have some buildings like that with sandstone. Okay, the ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater. So that ceremony took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater. It is formed by Union Building of Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy. And for decades means what? 10 years, decades, for many long years. This amphitheater and the seats in the amphitheater, everything was meant for white supremacy. Only they enjoyed there. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy. And now it was the site of rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic and non-racial government. But now, today, we can see number of people without caring their color, race and all. Why do these people gather there? They gathered there. These people gathered there to watch the installation of their first democratic government, non-racial government. Their first democratic, non-racial government. Clear? On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zinani. On the podium, Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as second deputy president. You see, he accompanied with his daughter. What's the name of daughter? Zinani. On the podium, what's mean by podium? On the stage. Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as second deputy president. First, Mr. de Klerk, he took the oath as the second deputy president. After him, Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as first deputy president. After de Klerk, Mr. Thabo Mbeki, he took the oath as the first deputy president. Then it was my turn. Now Nelson Mandela says that is his turn. Next is he. I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution, to devote myself to well-being of the Republic and its people. And he says, first he took oath. How? For he promised that he will obey. He promised that he would obey and support the Constitution. And also he would work for the well-being of the Republic and its people. To the assembled guests and watching world, I said. He continued his speech. Clear? He addressed the people who are there. He addressed the spectators who are there watching. Today, all of us do by our presence here. Confer glory and hope to newborn liberty out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long. Must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. You see that now he is continuing his speech. Today all of us do our presence here. He requested the people, we should be here today. Today we should show our presence here to confer, to give the glory and hope to the newborn liberty. Why he used the word newborn liberty for the South African people? For the black people, liberty is really a new word. That is why he used the word newborn liberty. Out of the experience of the extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long. And now he's telling about the extraordinary human disaster. What is that extraordinary human disaster he mentioned here? That is nothing but this apartheid. I told you the people were discriminated by the authorities, by the white people, according to their race, according to their color. So until this day, these people were under the rule of white people. That is why he used the word extraordinary human disaster. They were suffering the extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, that lasted around 300 years. Okay. And must born a society of which all humanity will be proud. But today there is a new government formed. A new government is going to form here through this oath-taking ceremony. All humanity will be proud, and all humanity will be proud by this. He considered it as a great, glorious human achievement. Okay, Nelson Mandela, he considered it as a great, glorious human achievement. We who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be hosts to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank all of our distinguished international guests for having come to take the possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. You see that one. We who were outlaws not so long ago, you see that the word outlaws, what is that outlaws? That's given here because it's a policy of apartheid. Many countries had earlier broken off diplomatic relation with South Africa. You see, South Africa is considered as a degraded nation. What all a common victory of justice, and this is the victory of justice, and this is the victory for peace, and this is the victory for dignity. Understood? So he considered it is the victory of everyone. This is not only the victory of black people, this is the victory of all the people in the world. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. You see, children, we have at last achieved our political emancipation. He continued his speech. He says that we have at last achieved our political emancipation. What is meant by emancipation? We got the freedom from the restriction. Today, we gained all the freedom from every restriction. We can also enjoy, we can also entertain all the rights like white people today. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people. Today itself, we need to promise. We need to promise that all our people, we should liberate all our people from their bondage of poverty, from their deprivation. What is meant by deprivation? Deprivation means state of not having one's rightful benefits. Clear? And suffering, gender, and other discrimination. Today onwards, we will not see any kind of discrimination on the basis of race, on the basis of color, on the basis of their gender, etc. They want to get every kind of freedom, mainly from their bondage of poverty, deprivation, and suffering, gender, and other discrimination. They need to get the freedom from deprivation, poverty, suffering, and gender. Clear? Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. And we will not entertain in our country, in our beautiful country, we will not entertain this kind of oppression again. What is that oppression? The injustice, the cruelty. The injustice, cruelty, and showed by the authorities towards the black people that will not entertain here in our country again. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. And the sun shall never set. That means this happiness will not end, because we earn this. We earn this freedom after we earn this achievement after having a long struggle, of 300 years. Okay, and this happiness will be here in this land for until the last day. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. And he says there, let freedom reign. Let the freedom rule the country. God bless Africa. Dear children, you must read the textbook very well, okay? And we have some oral comprehension here. You have to do that one in your notebook. Let me read the questions. Where did the ceremonies take place? Can you name any public buildings in India that are made of sandstone? That I already discussed here in the class. Where did the ceremony take place? And can you name any public? I also now I told you some name of some public buildings, right? In India, you can mention there. Can you say how 10th May is an autumn day in South Africa? That also I told you how 10th May 1994 is important in the lives of South African people, that I already told you. The third question is, at the beginning of his speech, Mandela mentions an extraordinary human disaster. He mentioned an extraordinary human disaster. It tells about what? It tells about the apartheid. So you need to write about that. And what does Mandela thank the what does Mandela thank the international leaders for? Okay, why did he thank them? What ideals does he set out for the future of South Africa? And he wished to get some kind of freedom. Okay, what are they? What ideals does he set out for the future of South Africa? These are the questions that you need to first you need to read the textbook and find out all the answers from the textbook. Everything is here itself, and you need to write in the notebook. Now, it's the time for winding up. Thank you. Have a nice day.